I know like a little bit about this. My sister-in-law is very into K-pop and lived in Korea for a time. And I just remember being on the phone with her one time and she was talking about like basically like baseball cards, but they're like collectible photo cards. Oh, Matt's going.
Oh,
I think we're going to get some show and tell.
Oh my gosh. I should have brought some my photo card collection.
I forgot about this. Hello, and welcome to Can't Let It Go. It's an audio PowerPoint party. My name is Matt, and I use he, him pronouns.
I'm AC. I use they, them pronouns.
And I'm Kim, and I use she, her pronouns.
Hi, Kim.
Hello.
I am excited to have you today.
I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, we've been trying to have you on for a little bit, and I'm excited that you just started presenting the topic to me in like random places without, I think, knowing that I was zeroing in on that for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is to say that I think you're going to tell us all about K-pop today.
That's correct. Some might say that I've been presenting this topic to everyone in my life for like a few months now. I literally talked about this at a PowerPoint party at the beginning of the year. So yes. I'm so thrilled. I'm so thrilled to talk about this, and thank you both for having me so much.
Absolutely.
Kim, like, I think that I just want to emphasize at the top of the episode how little I know about K-pop.
Well, this was my first question, is what do each of you know about K-pop? So, like, give me everything. If you had to, like, write down all of the information you have about K-pop, what is it?
It is from Korea. And the K in K-pop is Korean pop. I know that part.
Everything you've said so far is accurate.
Perfect. Okay. I know that there are a lot of bands. I know the names of some of them, right? I don't live under a rock. My rock does have Wi-Fi, so I know like of BTS and Blackpink are the two that come to mind.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of the band that sings that song with Bruno Mars. The Apata song is inescapable.
That's actually a member of Blackpink.
Perfect. Great.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I didn't know that.
I had no clue. Let me think of,
so
there was one other thing. Oh, I was going to say, my other touch point I have since been informed is not actually what K-pop is, which is Psy is like the other Korean pop artist that I know, but I guess it's not K-pop.
I mean, it isn't like Psy is like not like the true sort of like K-pop model when you think of like it's like boy groups and girl groups and whatever, but like he's like popular Korean music.
Right. Matt, do you know more than I do?
I think so. I mean, like all those names you said, I know. I am aware because like it's the kind of thing I'm interested in, of like the business model and the training and development model. Like the dark side of K-pop is something I'm aware of. Yeah. Is LE SSERAFIM a thing? Is that a K-pop band?
I love LE SSERAFIM. Yeah.
Okay. That is a thing that I know. And I know this is not like real K-pop, but I have watched K-pop Demon Hunters recently. And I did enjoy that a lot.
Is that an anime?
No, it's a movie on Netflix.
Worse.
By the people that make the Miles Morales Spider-Man movie.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you guys had seen that. It's really good. I feel like people I know who like K-pop really like it. People I know who weren't into K-pop before K-pop Demon Hunters really liked it, and I've been working very hard to get my non-K-pop friends into K-pop using K-pop Demon Hunters as a sort of springboard. So I think it's actually a good introduction to like, you know, what K-pop is like and like how it's marketed and stuff like that.
That music is constant in our house because Jonathan is obsessed with it.
Songs are good.
And like he will he has a 45-minute drive to and from work and will spend the whole time blasting their music. And
That's
then
so
he'll come in the house singing them. And then they're on his Instagram reels that I have to hear all night. So I know all of them. And I've also seen the movie. I feel like I'm vaguely aware of some other things that I probably couldn't name. Also just because I became a Persona sicko, I'm aware of like a little bit of J-pop in the same way that I'm a little bit aware of K-pop.
Sure.
And those are like similar but very different ideas. So I don't know. That's that's probably the extent of what I could tell you about K-pop.
Okay, great. No, it's just helpful to know like the baseline of knowledge that we're starting with. So when I explain things, like it won't be like I don't have to be repetitive or anything, but
sorry, I did watch the first episode of Popstar Academy.
Oh, yeah. So Popstar Academy is interesting because they're like supposed to be like an international group. They eventually formed the group Cat's Eye, who I have tickets to see in December. So yeah, they're not technically K-pop, but they are following the K-pop model, but doing it in a very like Western way, which has been really interesting to like watch. But yeah, so like the first thing I wanted to talk about was what is K-pop. But before we do that, I'm gonna like preface this by saying that this is a relatively new interest for me. It's really like within the last year that I have gotten into K-pop. And so I like don't purport to be an expert. Like a lot of this history, it's not like I was like there for it. I'm not like an OG fan from, you know, way back in the 90s. And so like I might get things wrong. I'm just sort of like, this is from my research and sort of like my understanding. So K-pop is a form of popular music originating in South Korea. It started in the 1990s.
So AC got that one right, is what you're saying.
Yes. Gold star AC.
Thank you.
A+ on that part of the assignment. It is largely like influenced by Western music, including hip hop, R&B, and rock. And typically when you hear about K-pop, these performers are in groups. There are girl groups and boy bands. There are a limited number of like co-ed groups, but it's like that's a pretty rare thing. And so for a Westerner, I feel like the touch point especially for people our age is like 90s pop music, you know, Spice Girls, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. It's very much that like boy and girl band kind of thing. But it actually has its roots in Motown, and that's sort of like where this model was started. I think that like I read recently that one of the there's like a few like major K-pop companies that kind of like run the show. And one of their, you know, sort of founders was inspired by Motown, apparently, in like the way that Motown Records formed groups and trained their artists and marketed them. So that's a very common thing. It's like you bring in trainees, essentially, train them in dancing, singing, rapping. Like different people will have different strengths usually in a K-pop group, but you know, they're sort of like trained in all of that, also trained in like media and things like that. And then sort of formed into these groups and then will quote unquote debut, which is, you know, they'll start releasing music as a group together. These artists individually are referred to as idols, and that feels like a very intentional word choice. It is very much like they are put up on a pedestal and held to very high standards so that they can be kind of like low-key worshipped by the fans. The dark side of the industry is something we will talk about later. And it sort of starts there. But
can I ask a question really quick?
Yes, please. Any questions? Are welcome.
Okay. So my question is there like a making the band aspect here? If you remember that show?
Yes.
Okay. I think that is something that I did not like. I had heard of, but did not remember to say is something that I knew about it.
Yeah.
But that's also what I always think of when people talk about the Motown model, right? If people remember O-Town, not Motown, but O-Town, right? And making the band, oh my God, what was that band that Nicole Scherzinger was in?
Pussycat Dolls?
No. Okay, maybe, no, I am thinking of the Pussycat Dolls. but there was a different band that they did this show on the CW that this girl group came out of that was like the girl group making the band. And then they sang the song that was like called Good for the Goose. And it was like, what's good for the goose is good for the gander or whatever. I was 12. I don't remember.
Eden's Crush.
Incredible. Yeah. And then my other touch point for that is you've seen Josie and the Pussycats, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's Josie and the Pussycats is all about this kind of like how you shape a band like this in a satirical way. But
yeah, that is very much a part of it. Not every K-pop group is formed through a show like that, but many are. They're called survival shows. And the idea is like people are competing to debut, or in some cases, it's like a group is sort of formed like with a number of and like designated members already, and then they have to sort of prove that they're ready to debut. Stray Kids, which is a band we will talk about in a little bit, and one of my favorites, they were formed in that way where like their leader basically chose, because every K-pop band has a leader.
Okay.
Their leader like hand selected the members that he wanted in his group, and then they went on this survival show to prove that they were like ready to debut. And 2 of them were actually eliminated and then later like allowed to debut with the group, in fact.
Why was he the one that got to choose?
Okay, so let me talk to you about Bang Chan. Bang Chan is he's the leader of Stray Kids. He is an idol. He's Korean, but he grew up in Australia. And he, at the age of 13, auditioned and was accepted into the training program at a company called JYP. And so he moved to Korea at the age of 13 to start training. And so he was there for a very long time as a trainee. And so he like at some point had like a certain degree of seniority. And so like was basically entrusted to like select his members and try to debut. I think like part of, I suspect why Bang Chan like got that kind of like trust put in him as well is like he is also a producer and writer. Stray Kids is like largely self-produced and self-written, not super common in the industry. And so like their story is like a little bit different in that way. So yeah, that's why that happened. But yeah, they were in one of those survival shows. So yeah, like I said, not everybody goes that route, but it is something that happens. Okay, so as we sort of touched on some of the most popular groups from a Western perspective. There are eras of K-pop that are known as generations. We're currently in what is known as the 5th generation that's considered to have started around 2023. And that is generations just refer to like the period of time in which a group debuted. So we talked earlier about BTS and Blackpink. Those are like 2 of the most internationally famous groups, and certainly the most famous in the US. Those are both 3rd generation groups.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't realize we were that far.
Yeah. Stray Kids, who we just talked about, are a 4th generation group. So 5th gen kind of just started recently.
So how long is like a generation considered to be? Like, is this like the year your band started kind of thing? Is it how old you are? Like, what is
It's the year your band started. And let's see. I almost included the generations, and then I was like, that's not going to be interesting. But yeah, the first one was like the 90s to, I think it was like, I want to say 2003, 2004. 90s to 2004. 2nd generation is considered 2005 to 2011. 3rd gen is 2012 to 2017. 4th gen, 2018 to 2022. 5th gen is 2023 to the present.
Wow.
So yeah, it's like evolved a lot through the years. I'm not super familiar with like earlier generations. My knowledge really actually starts with like, not my knowledge, but like I got into it with 4th gen groups. And so that's sort of like the like generations that I'm most familiar with are 4th and 5th. So yeah, the first kind of exposure that a lot of people have had to K-pop in the US often is Psy or Blackpink, BTS. And recently, as we discussed, it seems like K-pop Demon Hunters has sort of like brought K-pop into the public consciousness in a big way. So it'll be interesting to see if like that sort of contributes to the growth. It definitely seems like I am part of a like growing kind of it feels like K-pop is growing in a big way in the West. And maybe this has just been like a constant sort of stream, but like I started getting into them and then have like, come across like in online communities, many people who are like, I am just getting into this. Like it feels like it's something that's really growing and will probably continue to. But a good way to segue into like how I ended up getting into K-pop. So like shortly before the pandemic, I had a friend who was very into K-pop be like, hey, like, let me show you my favorite girl groups, whatever. So she like exposed me to some of the music. I really liked it. I listened to it, but not like, I didn't really get deep in it, until 2024. A creator on TikTok that I really like, her username is Aerith Girl. Aerith is in Final Fantasy VII. You may also know her as the Niche Tea Lady if you're familiar with her work. No, she basically does here's the like in-group conversation, like the niche tea in this like the crafting community is melting down over X, Y, and Z. Okay, yes, I've seen those videos.
I've seen this PowerPoint that she did.
Yes.
The PowerPoint party that she did about something. Yeah. I've seen that one.
Okay. Yeah. So she basically does, AC, as you said, like she covers niche drama happening in like community, very specific communities. And so she made a video around probably May of 2024 about some drama that happened when Stray Kids attended the Met Gala. They were the first K-pop group to ever attend the Met Gala, like all together. There had been individual idols who had attended, but never an entire group. And paparazzi were kind of insensitive, culturally insensitive about them. I guess, there's like video of them kind of like shouting to like, oh, give us a smile, like do whatever. How do you say smile? And I think one of the quotes was like, how do you say smile in Japanese? And it's like, they're Korean. And that would be a rude thing to say regardless, especially because many members of the band know English. There's 2 Australian members, not to mention like they learn English as part of their training. And so it was just like, it was a bad look, and K-pop fans being the way that they are sort of swiftly worked to make those photographers' lives miserable, which I don't necessarily endorse, but
I will say that is one thing I do know about K-pop fans.
I actually
how vile they can be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, or like the way that they are one of them, like I would say like in the top 5 of like in current active fan communities that are the most prolific in defense of both their fandom and like the all of the good and bad things that come with that, right? Now I'm remembering the whole like K-pop fans buy all of the Donald Trump rally tickets and no one shows up stories, right?
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah, exactly.
Its community is huge in K-pop, and that manifests in like really like wonderful, lovely ways, and then also in ways that are so insidious. And like, it's interesting, AC, that you mentioned kind of the way that they sort of enthusiastically defend idols. They just as enthusiastically bully idols just as frequently. It's a really interesting phenomenon. We'll talk about it more when we talk about the not so great stuff. But yeah, so I saw this video, and it ends basically with this creator who was a fan of Stray Kids. She basically said, hey, if you're looking to get into Stray Kids, like here's some good songs to start with. And so I did that. I liked those songs, didn't get too far into it. And then one day I was served one video.
This is how it goes.
Yes. It was a dance practice video. So like there are very elaborately choreographed dances for like each single that a K-pop group releases. And this was a dance practice video for the song God's Menu, which is kind of like Stray Kids' breakout song. It's the song that like kind of elevated them to another level of popularity. So I got this video, and it was not just like, oh, it's the dance practice video for God's Menu. It was a fan cam of the dance practice video for one member named Hyunjin, who is one of the main dancers of the group. And I was like, damn, look at these boys dance. This is fun. And so I guess I watched that video enough that the algorithm was like, okay, we see you, we hear you, we're going to give you more Stray Kids. And long story short, that is how by the end of 2024, I had purchased tickets for their upcoming concert in LA and had made a presentation for an actual PowerPoint party titled TikTok Turned Me Into a Stray Kids Stan, and now I'm going to make it your problem. So
incredible.
Yeah. I presented that to my friends. I described all 8 members of Stray Kids to them in great detail. 8. There are 8 members of Stray Kids.
Wow.
Yes.
Can I see the video?
That particular video, I'd have to hunt that one down if you're willing to sit and wait.
Yeah, I'm willing to sit and wait.
I'm sad, you know?
I feel like it'll explain a lot.
I mean, who doesn't love? I have recently, like, I think that it's so funny because something that really resonates for me is I too get really captivated by like dance trends and specific dance videos. Like, I have been watching, it feels like hundreds. It's probably not that many, but like jump style videos. So jump style is a style of dance to like techno that is like pretty old school, actually. Like, I'm familiar with it from the late 90s, early 2000s. And basically, I mean, it's pretty self-descriptive. The core of the dancing is that every step is also a jump. So it's like this very active style of dance that is very, very cool to watch. And so it has been making a resurgence with like particularly like teens and like goth and emo teens. And so I'll send through a link to one of these jump style videos here in a second.
Yes, please do.
But like I get so captivated by just like watching people dance. I think like it's so fun, you know?
Yeah.
And what a great way to then get into a larger, to be like, oh wow, actually there's more here if this is exciting and fun for you.
I also have this thing where if you've ever been at our house and it's like the night's mostly over, so we're just like scrolling on YouTube or whatever, 9 times out of 10 we're gonna pull up a Galen Hooks video, which I don't know if you've seen Galen Hooks, but she does like choreography for music videos, and she does these classes that fill up immediately where she will teach you a dance for a specific song. But it's all like, since it's for music videos, it's also about like acting and expression and all this stuff.
That's really cool.
And the first one that I ever saw was Love on the Brain, which was like probably one of her biggest videos. AC, you've guaranteed watched this at my house before.
I have.
And also another one that I love of hers is Best Part, the Daniel Caesar video. But they're like in a very specific studio in New York City that like is also in other famous choreography videos. So that's, I don't know, that's my experience with like dance YouTube. I can get pulled into that very easily.
Okay, I need to watch Hooks Love on the Brain. I have also sent now the Hyunjin fan cam that broke my brain irreparably.
Boy, I wonder who this fan really likes.
Well, so this is a thing. Fan cams in K-pop, they like film one particular member throughout a performance so that if you want to just watch your favorite member, you can.
I mean, I guess with 8 people on stage.
Most of the way I encounter fan cams is on like in the past on Twitter.
Oh, I get so many fan edits of all kinds of stuff. The latest fan edit to be finding its way into my TikTok algorithm over and over again.
I just know this is going to be good.
Is from Anne with an E, the Anne of Green Gables adaptation. It's this scene. There are these. It's like about like it's an Anne and Gilbert like romance fan edits. I've been getting a lot of them. So if you've ever heard that viral TikTok sound that uses one of those Irish dance songs, and it's like, where are you going? Do you need any help? Any dragons that need slaying?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm good. And he's like, who are you? That is from Anne with an E.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with that sound. Yes.
Anyway,
are we
back
ready
to K-pop.
to move on, or are we enjoying the Stray Kids video? Okay. So yeah, this fried my brain. And I was like, well, I'm obsessed with this now.
I see why.
So we already covered a lot of the fun facts about Stray Kids that I was going to mention, including that they were hand selected by Bangchan. They are largely self-written and self-produced. They have like a whole, in K-pop, there's something known as subunits or lines. It's like particular groupings of people in the group that share certain characteristics, whether it's like, oh, this is the vocal line. These are the guys who like really sing the best, or this is the dance line. It's like the best dancers in the group. They have a like production line, 3 members who contribute heavily to the writing and production of their songs, which is very unique. They are at this point probably one of the most popular groups in the US, sort of behind Blackpink and BTS. Just a few hot stats for you, to borrow a term from our friends at Video Game Podtimism.
Hot stats.
They're the first group in Billboard 200 history to have their first 6 charting albums debut at number 1. They were the first K-pop group to have an album sell over 1 million copies in the US.
Wow.
The first K-pop group to headline Lollapalooza, and the first K-pop artist to appear on the cover of Rolling Stone. And I saw them in concert in LA on May 31st and June 1st of this year. Wow. And it was a religious experience.
Congrats. That sounds
Thank
great.
you so much.
I love this for you.
Yeah. So they're like the thing that like got me into this. And so they're one of my favorite groups, along with a second boy group called ATEEZ. They are also a 4th gen boy group with 8 members. They are, Matt, this is a reference that will make sense to you. Their vibe is extremely like Saja boys in their demon form. They literally have what's known as the demon line, which is like performers who get so into the performance that they look almost demonic. Like, that is like the thing I think that really sets ATEEZ apart, is like their performance level is crazy. I should really find you guys a video of them as well, because like they are such good performers and very like almost theatrical. So this is a performance from their last tour. They're currently on tour again. I'm seeing them in August, but this is a performance from their last tour.
Sorry, I didn't mean to boo you. I got a pre-roll ad for the Big Beautiful Bill, and I booed instinctively because I saw JD Vance's face. I'm sorry, it wasn't about you or
that's
K-pop
fine.
at all,
you should boo that. But yeah, so the reason why I shared this video in particular is it sort of shows like they had this whole set that looks like a bar, and this whole performance is sort of like members are acting drunk, like it's a whole like almost stage play.
I was gonna say it looks like a little bit like a college play.
Yeah. Big theater kid energy happening here. Big, we wrote this ourselves.
Just like much better dancing.
Yeah.
And a lot more money.
So that's ATEEZ. That's sort of their thing. I always feel like if I'm comparing these two groups that I love very much, Stray Kids shows are like a party, ATEEZ shows are like a real performance. Not that Stray Kids aren't like doing real performance, but like it's more like, hey, we're all here having a great time. ATEEZ is like, we are putting on a show for you. So as I said, I'm seeing them in August. They did just release a new album today. So if you're interested, it's a great time to get into them. So yeah, that's just like a sampling of like what these bands are like.
While you've been talking, I've just been watching these videos.
Yeah. How do you feel about them? How do they make you feel?
I would say ATEEZ is not for me. Specifically. It's like I have never been into the bad boy thing. That's not true. I did date that one guy, but I won't say his name on the recording. But that was a small experiment.
I think a question that I have is like, so obviously, like, even in the US, like, we've seen this sort of like explosion of the kind of like musical tour where this like element of stage performance is a big part of it, right? Like the showmanship, like thinking about like the viral videos of Sabrina Carpenter's costume changes during her songs, right? Those kinds of like interludes, or like the ways that like, you know, Taylor Swift or Beyonce, right? Like these iconic people, icons? Oh no. These icons, right? Maybe are doing their shows, and like watching this is what every, like, it's not a specific tour. It's like what every K-pop show is like this level of, maybe not the same like staged kind of style, but like this high production value, so much dance involved, there's lots going on kind of thing.
Yeah, it definitely, I think, varies by group. You know, like ATEEZ and Stray Kids are fairly popular, so they like have the budget to do this kind of stuff. Smaller groups will not necessarily have like an entire bar stage set, but yeah, the idea is that the level of performance is expected to be very high. You know, lots of choreography. There are many fans love to comment on live performances. The microphones are on, you know, like the idea that your group can sound great live and like deliver that level of performance is a point of pride for the fans of many K-pop groups, you know?
Yeah. That's really interesting to me because like so many of the bands that I go and see, like on their regular tours, it's mostly just them on stage playing music, right? But like if you were to go see, like I just went to the Warped Tour, you know, festival, and because it's like a festival weekend, a number of bands had like these higher production kind of like moments where it's like, this is our one chance where we have the budget or like the ability to do something like this. You know, the kinds of things like one band like staged their front man like came out in a coffin, right? Raised from the dead kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And like that's not something that you would see at every show that they did. It was like specific for that. So it's really interesting to me to think about like, because I'm also like, to Matt's point about like it not really being for me, some of why I think maybe K-pop isn't for me is like I do not like arena shows, and these just seem inherently like they're made for an arena, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know what is the experience of seeing K-pop in a smaller venue? Does that even exist, you know?
Yeah, I don't know firsthand. It does exist. And often, you know, the like videos I've seen of kind of freshly debuted groups that I've been into, which is not many because I've only, you know, been into this for about a year, but there's a group called XLOV that I was going to talk about later that I'm so excited to share with you both. Their whole thing is a quote unquote genderless concept, which is sort of I find a word that is used like at least in the K-pop context to refer to like androgynous. But their vibe is very much like they are borrowing very much from queer culture. None of them are confirmed to be queer themselves, but I suspect that they are. But like, I'm trying to see. I can't find a video of like their live performances that are not like they'll go on like TV shows and stuff and perform, but if they just have like a live performance, is very much just like them on a stage doing their thing, and they're really talented, but like the production value is just kind of like their choreography.
I will say it's XLOV.
Yes.
Okay, so don't type in XLOV unless you're ready to look
yeah.
on Google.
Thank you, Matt, for
I've done it for all of us. Okay.
Yeah. But this is here. I'll just send you a music video of them. But I love them very much. I'm really excited to like see where they go.
This is immediately queer.
Yeah, like you know, I don't know these guys' sexualities, but like I don't think that they're a bunch of straight men that they
Right.
dressed up in androgynous clothing for the purpose of a concept. It seems very much like this is who they are. And it's very cool to see because homosexuality, like there are not a lot of out K-pop idols. That is something that we will discuss later. But yeah, it's been very fun to like watch them.
Sorry, I'm watching this video and definitely there is a part where like there are people on there's like a fake person with like a lollipop or something in their mouth, and there are people on it, and it's getting like very sexually pulled out of this person's mouth while the people fall off of it.
Fake body.
Yes, I know exactly what part of this video you're referring to.
Also, they're in extremely fair makeup.
When you say fair, you mean like
just like extremely like really light
White
makeup.
Yeah, whitening.
Yeah, it's funny. Like this is actually a group that I found to be pretty good about not whitewashing, which is absolutely something that happens with K-pop idols. Often their official photos, their skin will be lightened, even if they are like very tan naturally. But there's a member of this group, Hyun, who in most official things, they like do not like lighten his naturally tan skin tone, which is like fairly rare. So it's like nice to see.
Oh, wow. Yeah. This interview.
Are you watching an interview now?
Like an interview, and like you're correct. This is not a group of straight men.
Yeah, like they're like they haven't said it, but these are it's a bunch of gay guys, and it's really like it's nice to see. Like this is not because so much of we're really getting into. We can go back to the things. You know what? I'll save the what do I like about it so much for the end, so we can end on the positive note. But this is getting into like part of the like things that I find complicated about K-pop that make me feel a little bit icky as part of this like sort of idol worship of these literal idols. There is like a deliberate building of parasocial relationships that happens. Part of that is like some idols, depending on the company, their contracts might prohibit them from dating, or even if they can date, they generally will not do so in like the public eye because they're supposed to appear available to their fans and to only have eyes for their fans. And so part of what makes XLOV super interesting to me is like most boy groups are marketed at women. XLOV is marketed at women, but like it is not for the reason of like the kind of sex sells of like you should be attracted. You're attracted to this member of the group or whatever, or all of the members of the group. Like it's very much not that, and it's just really fascinating, and it just feels like they feel like a real like breath of fresh air and a step forward in that way. Part of allowing for the fantasy of dating your favorite idol is as we've discussed, making them seem available, but also the companies like want to show you like what it would be like to date this idol. And so within groups, idols are sort of encouraged to do what is called fan service and like flirt with each other, essentially. Part of this is, I will say, cultural. I don't know if it's actually perceived as flirting as much, because it is my understanding. I am not Korean. I have never lived in Korea, so like I'm just going based on like what I understand about Korean culture. But my understanding is that physical affection between friends of the same sex or the same gender is a little bit more common than it is in the West, especially like among men. It is more accepted to like, hold hands, hug, whatever. And so, it might not necessarily be considered flirting there, but it is very much, it's called like skinship, like bonding through physical touch. And idols are encouraged to do this by their companies, apparently, allegedly.
That word makes me want to die inside.
I know, it's really awful.
I mean, like it's not any worse than like the idea of like skin hunger, which is also a term that makes me feel like
I haven't heard that one.
Oh, skin hunger is like when you're like craving like physical skin contact. It's often talked about for like young children, touch deprivation. Yes, like like you need the physical contact with someone else's body and like warmth, and having less separation is like can build that stronger chemical bond. Yeah, but it is, yes, it gives you the same icky feeling as skinship.
Yeah. But yeah, this is encouraged basically among members of groups. And, you know, I can't say if it is interpreted as romantic in Korean culture. I don't think that it is. Among like Western fans, I think that it very much is. There are very popular ships of idols within groups. And some, you know, I could see someone interpreting this as queer baiting. I don't think that it is, because I don't think that that's like necessarily the intent, like in its cultural context. But it is interesting, and it is something that is kind of like, I don't know, it always gives me pause. That said, are there idols? Like, first of all, there have to be idols who are not straight.
Statistically.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean, we've done this with American culture too, right? Where like not even like intentional flirting or anything like that, but like One Direction was encouraged to like be friends on stage, and that led to fans taking things out of context, right? And led to pressure on the band and all the above. AO3 is filled with the results of that. But like these are like also natural fandom problems is the thing that I think I'm getting at.
Shipping is very common in any fandom.
Well, and I think that it's so interesting because one of the things that is like a line for me, and when it comes to shipping, is like, I do not think that it is cool to like ship real people, right? Like people who are actual human beings. Like, ship any fictional character you want, whatever weird ass combination of people is exciting to you, go for it. But I always feel really, really like off-put by the idea of like, not, and I guess maybe like there's to some degree of like engaging in your own personal fantasy around ships is like one thing when it's real people, right? Whether you're imagining yourself in a relationship with someone or you're imagining two other people, I think that like when we talk about it in the context of like online fandom, that is where I get really stuck of like, hey, I think it's actually kind of weird that you wrote a 30,000 word fic about two people who are actually real people who have their own lives and personalities, and you've decided what their lives and personalities actually look like.
Yeah, that stuff, I agree, is weird to me. At the same time, there are pairings in K-pop where I'm like, if they turned out to be real, I wouldn't bat a fucking eye. Like, I would not be surprised at all. And I'm looking at you, Min-sung.
Oh,
okay.
That's all I will say.
Min-sung, if you're listening, you know what you did.
These are two members of Stray Kids who like literally call each other soulmates. Like, I would not be surprised, is all I will say.
Good for them.
Yeah.
YouTube is going to serve me so much K-pop for the next week.
I'm so sorry.
Googling things in the background.
I don't know. Maybe this is good. Maybe you can encourage Jonathan to listen to some new K-pop. Yeah, like some variety in the songs at least.
Yes.
I realized after the third one that I watched that I was watching them on the brand account. So shout out to my fellow coworkers who will see that I was watching K-pop videos. If you see it before I delete it, because I am really good about that. So,
So yeah, I think we've covered a lot of the kind of subject matter I had around like queerness in K-pop. Like ultimately, it would cause a scandal, I think, if a lot of especially in like more popular groups, if members turned out to be queer in some way. But there are signs of progress. there's a group called Just Be that has a member named Bane who came out as gay on stage at a show in the US.
I've seen this video.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. He was like completely embraced by his bandmates, embraced by the fans, and is just like now an out gay K-pop idol, which is extremely rare.
Really cute.
There's also, we touched on Dream Academy, which produced a group called Cat's Eye. They're technically an international group, but like have followed the K-pop model. Two of their members have come out as bisexual. And, you know, we talked about XLOV, who are clearly just queer. and so like it's starting to move in a more progressive direction in that way, which I'm, you know, excited to see. It makes me feel a little bit less icky about like, you know, some of those strange parts of the industry, but there are more. You know, Matt, you sort of referenced to the like training model, and it is, I think, inherently quite exploitative in many cases. Depending on the company, trainees often incur debt associated with their training that if they debut, that the company starts to recoup it, so they don't get like paid. They're just sort of paying off their training debt for a period of time. Not great.
Yikes. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like it's more debt, but that's also like what music labels do across the world.
Yeah,
right?
very true.
Also true.
I don't know.
Capitalism.
Chaperone said what I wanted to say about it on stage when she was accepting awards. So
yeah, go listen to Chaperone.
yeah.
But in addition to that, there's high expectations for like maintaining the idol image. They are often put on mandatory diets. You know, we talked about like the whitewashing that happens. There's obviously very high beauty standards, you know, that they're expected to meet. All of that feels icky to me a little bit. And, you know, there's also not only the like capitalism of it all from the kind of exploitation of labor perspective, but also like being a K-pop fan is expensive. Tickets are very expensive. There's like a culture, and listen, all of this stuff is like optional, but it is very much, it is marketed very heavily. Like collecting is very, very encouraged in the community.
I know like a little bit about this. My sister-in-law is very into K-pop and lived in Korea for a time. And I just remember being on the phone with her one time and she was talking about like basically like baseball cards, but they're like collectible photo cards. Oh, Matt's going.
Oh,
I think we're going to get some show and tell.
Oh my gosh. I should have brought some my photo card collection.
I forgot about this. This is my Magic the Gathering trade binder.
Yes.
It's meant for K-pop cards.
K-pop photo card. I'm surprised you can fit them because I recently got my first Magic card and it won't fit in any of my K-pop, not any of it, but like I thought it would be funny to start putting Magic the Gathering cards in K-pop photo card holders and carrying, you know, like attaching them to my purse and shit.
I do think that would be funny and you should do it.
Thank you. But Magic cards are just a little bit bigger than K-pop photo cards. So I really have to like shove it in there. And I don't want to damage Glarb, Augur of Doom or whatever he's called. It's a frog. But anyway.
Shout out to my friend Cam who gave me this, by the way. She's
so cute.
A part of our Sunday play group, and she was like, she brought hers. I was like, that's really cute. She's like, I have one if you want it.
I love that energy. In fact, I bring that energy to almost every space that I'm in. Also, Glarb is an incredible name for a frog.
Oh yeah.
Kim, so the cards are a big part of it. But are there other like obviously there's a million different types of memorabilia. Oh, I see. The plushie.
Yes.
Well, and this is how we get Labubus also, right?
Labubus are sort of separate. It's kind of like the same mentality, but Labubus are they're not actually like K-pop related, but they're like a blind box where like you're trying to get, you know, the Labubu that you want, I guess, but you don't know which Labubu you've bought. But photo cards are like that. So photo cards typically come in albums or with other merch you can buy, but it's kind of like a lucky draw thing. And you know, the idea is like you want to pull your favorite member of the group, also known as your bias. And so many people will like buy lots and lots of albums to try and get the photo cards that they want.
Oh.
Sometimes Also, there are events called fan calls. It used to be fan meetings, and then it became more common to do like Zoom calls where like you will get to like sit and chat with your favorite idol for like literally maybe 2 minutes. But these are very coveted by many K-pop fans. And the way that you win them is you get like, if you buy albums from a particular store or source, every album that you buy is like, you know, a ticket in the raffle to like win one of these calls. And so people will buy tons and tons of albums to try to win these calls. And there are some fans who like will, you know, they post their fan calls online, like videos of them, and they'll have like multiple fan calls with the same idol, which means they are buying a ton of albums. And all of this is done to sort of help boost these groups on the rankings, like in, you know, like Billboard or, you know, like the Korean equivalent. And it is, you know, it like overconsumption is like very much encouraged in this community.
The resale market times 1,000. Is what that sounds like. Like, it sounds like a juiced up version of what is already like, I often get like the videos of people like busting stashes that people have made in stores of like, you know, collectible cards or things like that, of like putting things back on the shelves where they go. And like, presumably that would be part of this too, right?
I haven't seen anything like that specifically. What's the
like where people like, so where like people go in, so there's this like where resellers go in and they want to buy up all of the stock of a certain thing, but they don't want to like pay for it all at once or whatever, and so they'll hide it in places in the store, right? Or you know, or whatever. And so I get the videos where people go and intentionally hunt in the store to find places that people have hidden stuff and put it back on the shelves for other people to have a chance to buy it. And so like what I'm thinking about here is like this overconsumption. You're buying hundreds of albums, right? Like, are you going how? Like logistically?
It's like ordered online. A lot of this, I think, is ordered online. Like, you know, for things like this, like I forget if I talked about this on, I don't think we were recording when we weren't recording yet. I brought, for emotional support, a plushie, the mascot, which by the way, very common in K-pop groups for there to be plushie mascots for each member, like little representative animals. And so this is representative of the captain of ATEEZ, Hongjung. He's a little squirrel, Jungrami, and I spent too much money on him. But
cute.
He's really cute. But yeah, so like there are like drops of these things that you can pre-order, you know, when like new like sets of merch drop, and a lot of the time this stuff sells out very quickly. Recently, there was, towards the beginning of the year, Stray Kids did a drop of merch that included teddy bear versions of their their representative animals. And these are so hard to come by. Like, people lost their minds for these, including me. This is not the only one I have. And like, they are now reselling for like hundreds of dollars because like people couldn't get them. They want them so badly. So like you can be a K-pop idol who just like streams the music, watches the online content for free, and doesn't spend a lot of money on collecting. But you are being marketed to extremely heavily. And it is sort of, you know, when you go to the concert, people like, you know, will wear this plushie to show that this is their favorite member, so that maybe that member will notice them in the crowd and, you know, interact with them in some way. And like, it is, I think, very difficult to resist that, like, you know, that feeling that you need to consume.
Yeah.
It's free to play video games.
Yes.
Yeah. It is a lot like that.
Is there like a trading culture in fan spaces at all? Like at concerts, or, you know, like,
yes.
Obviously the Taylor Swift bracelet example is the one that people think of. I'll remind you all that ravers did it first. Okay. Plur, baby. But like, is there that kind of like trading culture as part of it?
Yes. So people will sometimes trade photo cards, especially if you drew your friend's bias, your friend drew your bias, you can trade. But at concerts, absolutely, the trading of freebies and just giving out of freebies is extremely common. Have any? I don't think I have any here. Oh, yes, I do. So I have here buttons that I made of ATEEZ members for an event that I sadly didn't get to go to, but I will probably give them out at the concert that I'm going to. People do bracelets. People do their own homemade photo cards. My friend and I made photo cards for our upcoming ATEEZ concert as well, in addition to these buttons. So that is very common, and it's very there are aspects of community there, right, that are really nice. That is a really lovely thing to meet strangers at a concert by just trading little trinkets that you have made to share in this thing that you love so much. So that aspect of it is really, really fun and really sweet.
I love that. I made friendship bracelets for Warped Tour, and everyone was obviously, I mean, there were a few other people there who were clearly part of rave culture or whatever, who I did trade bracelets with. And we did, the thing where you hold hands and you put the bracelet on each other, right? The whole plur thing. Aww. But for most people who were there, they were oh my God, wow. Yeah. Basically anybody who Matt's husband would start to chat with after about 5 minutes of him just chatting with them, I'd be do you guys want a friendship bracelet? Silent up until the moment at which I was I think it's appropriate for me to be would you like something in trade for your kindness in this moment? And it was really fun.
Yeah. The last thing that I will talk about in terms of things that make me feel icky about K-pop, and this is one of the ickiest, but I feel I could not go on a show and talk about K-pop without talking about this. And that is the degree to which K-pop takes from Black American culture. It is very rampant, both in terms of just the what you could call inspiration of, it's inspired by hip hop and rap a lot of the time, to things elements of Black American culture that I'm maybe these idols shouldn't be using AAV without fully understanding how it means or how it applies. There's a kind of famous line from a Blackpink song where one of the members raps, "I'm gonna finna something," which is just not grammatically correct AAVE. So it was just clearly written by someone who was borrowing those words without knowing what they mean. And then it also gets to be quite insidious at times. Something sort of in the middle, I would say, is there are often controversies when K-pop idols will sometimes be styled with protective hairstyles, braids, things where it's that is not don't. I think sometimes the idols get a lot of flack for things that are, chosen by stylists. It's unclear how much control they have over that sort of thing, but it's someone along the line should know that that's not appropriate, right? And then unfortunately there are examples of just straight up overt racism. There are many, many clips of different K-pop idols using the N-word in raps, in in videos from training, or unfortunately more recently even, there was a member of Stray Kids who had a video of himself doing a rap that he wrote as a teenager that used the N-word. And then most recently, and probably one of the worst things that I have seen since I have been involved, have become a K-pop fan, is that there was a group called Kiss of Life that had, they were doing a live stream to celebrate a member's birthday, and they decided to make the theme gangster themed, or maybe it was supposed to be rapper themed, but it was very much they were dressed in an offensive way, saying offensive things. And there is only so far that lack of cultural context can go, especially you know, with the amount of media training that these these idols have had, they should know better. And in the case of Kiss of Life, they have members who were like from Canada and the US, like grew up in Canada and the US and then became trainees. They knew better. And so like whether they were courting controversy on purpose or whatever, I don't know. But it's like things like this happen with unfortunate frequency. And it does absolutely make it very difficult to like support a lot of the time. Just knowing that like even if you are a fan of a group that like has not had a Kiss of Life level scandal, it's like just the knowledge that like so much of this industry is built upon Black American culture is just a little bit like ugh.
Yeah.
So that is definitely something that like, you know, I don't love when I, you know, as a fan.
It's interesting too that like you were so like the clear roots of like the model that they use are so evidently from Black culture in terms of Motown, and that like to your point about like them getting media training, like do they learn about the history of Motown and why Motown exists and why Motown Records made their own music, right? And like why Black record companies and, you know, R&B and hip hop record companies had to create their own studios separate. Like you would think that would be part of what you would learn about if that's where you come from, you know, or where the history of your industry comes from. I don't know. That's crazy of me, maybe.
I am quite willing to bet that no, that is not part of the media training. Yeah. But, you know, to end this on a more positive note in terms of like the things that have, you know, the things that have made K-pop like such a like interesting and fun part of my life, especially to have discovered, like I'm like 35. So like to be getting into, you know, this kind of, I guess, hobby, for lack of a better word, at this age is very much like tapping into my inner teen a little bit, I feel. And that part of it is really fun. You know, I think there's a lot of younger K-pop fans do not like older K-pop fans, but as I think they will learn as they get older, just because you get older, that doesn't mean that you stop liking the things that you like or enjoying fun. I enjoy the collecting of it, clearly. You know, before I got into K-pop, I collected vinyls of, you know, the music that I really liked. And so it's been fun to like collect CDs again, and has sort of inspired me to collect more physical media in general.
Do you have a CD player that you listen to your CDs on?
I don't listen to the CDs that frequently, if I'm being honest, but I do have a CD player. I have a portable one and like a actual like stick a CD in, and I have speakers and, you know, can like play it out loud. And yeah, I don't know. I like, it's just fun to collect physical media. Yeah. And you know, nice to know that if at some point, you know, Apple Music decides to give us all the middle finger, like I'll have some way to listen to some music, you know?
I mean, I have a cassette for the video game Cassette Beasts. I don't have a cassette player.
That's so cool, though.
I actually have a number of cassettes as well that are like from friends' EPs, or like, because I listen to a lot of ska and punk music, a lot of ska and punk bands still put their music out on cassettes. I too do not own a cassette player. Although one of the reasons why I asked the CD player question is because for many years, my only CD player was in my car. And when I got rid of my most recent car, it was like, here are the 6 CDs that I own. And they're indicative of my personality that have been in my 6 CD changer in my car for the last 10 years.
It's so funny. I miss those like big like accordion like CD cases or whatever. Yeah.
I have mine in my keepsake box in storage because I was like, I don't want to let go of this. I like actually have a lot of sentimental value around, like, it's the same CD case that I've had since I was 15. And like, yeah, it's stupid, but it's fun.
It's not stupid. It's like a relic of a different time.
Okay, it's stupid because of how scratched most of the CDs are. Okay, it's not. I'm not good at that. I tried to listen to, and this is a deep cut that's mostly for Matt, but maybe it'll hit for you too. A while ago, I was on a road trip and I tried to listen to a bunch of the CDs, including some of my old Reliant K CDs, to see if they would help me feel anything. And most of them were unlistenable for two reasons. One was the content. I was like, wow, I cannot believe that this used to be my deal. And two, they were so scratched that like every other track was just like, oh my gosh, had to be skipped. Anyway, that's not the point here.
Yeah, I the last sort of, positive thing that I feel K-pop has brought to my life is that like sense of community. Obviously, K-pop fans are known for not necessarily being the least toxic fandom, but I've had great experiences with the ones that I've met. I made a friend on TikTok, trying to find like friends to go to these Stray Kids concerts with. Aww. She is now like a very good friend of mine. Shout out Lindsay if you're watching or listening. And we like are going to more concerts together, traveling together. Like, it has at minimum like brought me like a very good friend, which is very nice. So yeah, it's K-pop is a complicated thing in my consciousness at least. But it's been a really like a fun thing to get into. It's been hard on my wallet, but has paid back dividends in just good times.
It's good for your heart,
Yeah, exactly.
I feel you. I got into Magic the Gathering at 33 and
nice.
Do you
know Glarb?
I looked up Glarb. I've never seen Glarb until today, but I'm aware of what Glarb does. I was thinking, Glarb would be a good commander for this deck that I already played as the same colors.
Flog Commando could be really good. I also think that like Kim, like to your point about like obviously there are problematic aspects and there are like things that are like not ideal, but I just always wind up thinking like find me one unproblematic interest. Right. Because none of the interests that I have are unproblematic. Like maybe crafting is my least problematic interest. And even then, once you start to get into specific crafting communities, I went to a quilt store in Oklahoma and people make some really, really problematic quilts, So it's like there's like it's so hard to be like, I have this thing that I really love and I care about, and everybody to be like, great, here are all the criticisms in the world about it. And I just like, I think what I've taken away from this is I love that there is something that you have found this much joy in and that like you have found community in, because everybody deserves that.
Yeah, and I feel like to your point, it's like the best we can do is like acknowledge these things, try not to play into them, like hold people accountable for them.
Yeah.
But like, as long as you're doing that, I would hope like, and not letting it, like there are fans who will just like defend anything, be like, they apologized. Why are we still talking about it? It's like, because the conversation bears having regardless of an apology. So, that's my soapbox about that. Are there any other questions that I can answer about K-pop? while we're here?
What's the most, like, if there is anything that is like underrated about K-pop, like what would you say is like the most underrated aspect of K-pop?
What a good question.
Or an underrated K-pop band, maybe?
My underrated K-pop band recommendation, I think, is XLOV. Like, they released like mini album or EP a few weeks ago that is like so good, no skips for me, fantastic. Highly recommend that. I think in terms of like underrated things about K-pop, I think it's got, I don't know if it's cliche to say, but I think it is like the community of it. It's like just the joy of like sharing in something with a bunch of strangers, I think is sort of lovely. Like I saw Stray Kids at SoFi Stadium. That is like a huge venue, and coming from feeling like, oh, I don't know anyone else who is into K-pop. I feel like this weird old lady for liking them. And then showing up to this venue and seeing people of all ages, all genders, like all backgrounds, just like coming together to enjoy this music, and thousands of them, I was like, oh, like this is not like my weird niche interest that I have to be like kind of ashamed to enjoy. Like this is a fun, exciting thing, and there are like tons of people who love it as much as I do.
You know what I'm going to say, AC?
I wonder.
Collective Effervescence.
I was like, we should have just called this show Collective Effervescence because of every gosh dang time.
It's the show. It's the whole thing.
That is how I would describe it. Yeah.
I was about to say, Kim, have you heard me rant about collective effervescence before?
Are you familiar
with the concept? Okay.
No.
So collective effervescence, for listeners of the show, this will be familiar, but collective effervescence is a sociological concept to describe the experience of like being moved to emotion in a larger group. And like it's often talked about in like church or in like ritual spaces where you yourself, if you were alone, may not have had the same feelings that you are having and experiencing, but because basically the people around you act as amplifiers of that feeling, you feel the joy bigger, you feel the sadness bigger, right? You feel the excitement bigger, right? Sports is a really big like site for collective effervescence in the United States, but across the world, like there is tons of writing about the power of collective effervescence. And it is something that since I, studied sociology in my master's program, I have always had a hair up my ass about. I'm always prattling on about it my whole goddamn life. So
it does feel like it's telling us something, though, that like in this show that is about things that you guys are obsessed with, that the guests are obsessed with, that it keeps coming back to this idea of how heightened feelings can be in a group. I feel like that is that feels like a very interesting connective tissue for many of your episodes to have.
Yeah.
It's almost like community is everything.
Whoa, crazy.
Mind blown.
We talked, so the second episode of the show was called Fandom and the Internet, Everything I Need I Get From You. And that's the first time we talked about collective effervescence. Yeah. And I still think about the quote that you read from that book. And now we both were like emotional when you finished reading it.
Yeah.
About like quote unquote screaming fangirls or whatever. But like just like the sheer joy of that moment that people are feeling.
Yeah. Kim, I'll send you that quote. It's about like, it's basically about
Please do.
why we scream, right? And like why screaming is good and how it builds like this shared understanding.
If you want to hear screaming, a K-pop concert is a great place for that. I do want to share one last thing, and this was featured or will be featured on an episode of .zip soon. So I apologize for the repeat.
Hey, you should listen to .zip.
Yes.
Not repeat, a plug. A plug.
Not to jump right into plugs, but I do this show called .zip. It's fun. It's about big games and small packages. But I spoke recently about there are these things in K-pop called fan chants, where the group like comes up with like things that fans shout at particular parts of songs. And there is a song that ATEEZ does called Guerrilla, as in guerrilla warfare, where a lot of ATEEZ, I know, Matt, you said you're not an ATEEZ fan. This is my last attempt to sway you, is that a lot of their music, and they have like sort of like lore to their music, because again, everything with them is very theatrical. A lot of it is about them being rebels overthrowing a corrupt government.
Okay.
Yeah. And so they have this song,
check it out. I'll give it another
Guerrilla,
chance.
where probably, I think it's like 20-ish seconds into this video I just showed you, there's a fan chant where everybody shouts "break the wall," and it is so fucking loud at every concert that you can often hear it from outside the venue. And this is a video of that.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
This is wild.
Yeah. So that's the last thing I will say. Talk about collective effervescence. I am very much looking forward to this part of the concert when I go in August.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but there's a Persona Live coming to LA at the beginning of next year.
No.
And I am seriously considering going for very similar reasons. Just being around other fans that are as into it as I am. Yeah.
You should do it. And then we can hang out.
And then we can hang out. Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm very interested in that book, AC.
It's great. I will send you the info. I've been trying to see if I wrote the quote down in my notes, but I don't think I did. I just think I noted the page number. So I will go get my very annotated copy off the shelf when I get home and send you some of the best snippets.
What's the book?
The book is called Everything I Need, I Get From You. How fangirls created the internet as we know it.
Oh.
Basically, Caitlin Tiffany writes about fangirls and the internet via her own experience as a member of the One Direction fandom.
Okay.
And it is a really great like mix of personal essay and like researched and reported.
I'm going to buy this book. I'm immediately given this interest of mine, I'm like, I should absolutely read this.
Yeah.
She's a writer at The Atlantic, but I remember her from her podcast called Why'd You Push That Button, which was on The Verge.
Oh, I remember that. I don't think I ever listened, but yeah.
Well, if we don't have anything else, then maybe it's time to wrap up.
Sorry, I kept it lingering there for a while.
Fine.
But
You're fine. I will just start by asking you, where would you like to be found online? What would you like to plug here today?
I would love to plug .zip, as I mentioned earlier. That is a show that I do with fellow TWG friends AJ and Chase. We talk about short, usually 6 hours or under video games, specifically indie games, and then also sometimes the Call of Duty series. So that is out every Monday. Would love if you check that out. And I also do with AJ and our friend Bolt, Frog of the Week, which is exactly what it sounds like. Glarb has not been featured yet, but maybe in the future. So definitely check that out. And then you can also find me at, what's my Blue Sky? At okimmies.bluesky.social.
Hey, Matt, I just realized we did it. We completed the set.
I was going to say, that's the next thing I was going to say is you are the last .zip host to be on the show.
We've done it.
Oh my gosh. You collected them all.
I did. I'm so happy right now, in fact.
I'm thrilled. Yeah. I'm sorry that I was the last one. I'm sorry I was the holdout, but I'm glad we finally got to do this. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. AC, where can people find you on the internet?
People can find me on the internet at acfacci.com and acfacci.bisky.social. Yeah, that's it.
There you go.
I posted my first Blue Sky post in a while last night. It was about tomatoes.
Wow.
It's tomato season. Go eat a tomato.
I'm going to give that a like.
You can find me at matthorton.live and on YouTube I make Flow State. We know all these things. I will say that if you want to support this show or the work that I do on YouTube, you can do that at ko-fi.com/Matt Horton. And also that will get you access to Can't Put It Down, which is this show, but sometimes, and about video games. And the first episode was me and Kim talking about 1000 Times Persist.
Yeah. That was a really fun one. I still treasure those memories fondly.
I think that we may eventually, I think that we're getting very close to the moment at which it is time for us to do an Animal Crossing episode. So if you'd like to hear Matt and I talk about Animal Crossing, join us on Discord and support us on Coffee is how I decided to say it this time.
Oh, I like that. That's so much better than like Ko-fi, Ko-fi, Coffee, Coffee.
Coffee.
I'm a fan.
Hey, you can find the show at can'tletitgo.gay, and we are also on Blue Sky at can'tletitgo.gay. Thanks to The Worst Garbage for having us. Go to theworstgarbage.online to join the Discord, hang out with us, tell us about your favorite or frogs or K-pop bands.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a K-pop general in that Discord as well if you want to hang out and talk about K-pop with people there.
I'm desperate for more boy group fans in there. So if you're a boy group fan and you want to talk to me about K-pop, you're legally obligated to go in there.
If you're my sister-in-law, that means you.
Yes.
AC's sister-in-law, I'm waiting for you.
Thank you to Scout for making our art. She's super talented. You can pay her to make you some art at ko-fi.com/humblegoat. And thanks to my friend Ethan, who is Revolver Ocelot on Blue Sky, for making our music. And I think that's it. So we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
TWG, the worst garbage, online.